Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another high-grade Build Divers review, and today I'm taking a look at the Impulse Gundam Lancier. And once again, this video would not be possible without those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan, so if you want one of your own, check out that link down there in the description. Now let's get to this. So here's the high-grade Impulse Gundam Lancier out of the box, snapped together with a little bit of panel lining. So this right here is the 2016 high-grade Impulse Gundam, new in pink, maroon, and yellow instead of that standard Gundam red, white, and blue. We also have some updated parts for this kit, which includes the long side skirts, that big butt tank, those pointy shoulders, overhauled torso, and a brand new head. This head right here has a whole lot of Gundam Age vibe to it, and as for the torso, I would say this is definitely a bit of a downgrade as opposed to an upgrade. The torso on the Force Impulse was high-grade color separation at its finest, but this right here is just blocky with a really huge green foil smack in the middle of it. I really think they could have done something a little bit better than that massive hexagonal sticker. On the whole though, it really does win out in the end. Those great Force Impulse proportions look great, and this kit really does marry Age and Seed Destiny designs together quite nicely. Moving on to the accessories, and here's what we get in the box with the Impulse Gundam Lancier. First up, we get two base adapters, which I'll talk about later, they're for using with the transformation. As for weapons, we get the Lancier Javelin. This is just in white for the blade section, grey for the handle, and both of those can detach from each other. Next up is the shield, which features 2 points of articulation as well as a rotating attachment section for attaching to the forearm. And on the underside we have some pegs, which are part of the transformation as well as for attaching the tip of the javelin. As for the manipulators, we do just get one standard set of hands in here, that's all. Besides what I've shown you just there, we have a whole bunch of other plastic that's left over from the fact that this is based on the Force Impulse, which includes the full beam rifle from the Force Impulse, which is a really nice little extra. So moving now into the build and articulation, and the first thing I'll mention about the build is, for the most part, this is solid as a rock, really good, just like the Force Impulse was. But it's the parts they've added that are a little bit wonky. The parts in question that like to fall off all the time are this back here, where you can see it only attaches by a tiny little peg there. So that's a whole lot of tank, a whole lot of force upwards on a tiny little peg. So this does fall out quite often. The same goes for the side skirts. It's adding all this length that makes them just so easy to pop off. Again, this right here was designed for holding a side skirt of this size right here, not one of this size right here. So it can pop off quite often, which can be a little bit annoying. So more than likely those parts are going to fall off when I'm doing the articulation, so if they do, I'm just going to leave them off just to prevent all that frustration. But anyway, let's get going. So we're going to be starting from the head down, and we've got a double jointed neck, one joint in the torso, a ball joint in the neck, so we do have that giggity side to side tilt on the ball, as well as full rotation all the way around, and that has already fallen off. As for the shoulder, we've quite a bit going on. Inside the torso, we've got one joint there. You can see that grey section pulls out like that. We have a ball joint inside of that and a joint inside the shoulder armor there. So all in all, when it comes to the shoulder, we have a whole lot going on in there. It's not the most beautiful set of joints to look at, but it's very, very functional. As well as that, we've got that full rotation all the way around. The shoulder armor here doesn't move independently to the shoulder joint, but you can get a little bit out of it because it is part of the shoulder joint. The arm can move inside of the shoulder. We've got that full rotation at the upper arm. There is the bend at the elbow, and that is fantastic. And as for the wrist, that is just your standard ball and socket there. Nothing really gets in the way. Around on the back, we've got this little jet-looking section. This can move up and down. We have a vernier in the bottom there. I'm not sure if that's meant to move, but it has a bit of a movement. As for at the waist, we have a tiny little rocking joint inside of here. It doesn't give a whole lot. Nothing side to side, just back and forward, as well as this standard ball and socket joint at the waist. All in all, you don't get a whole lot out of this. Nothing really all that noticeable. Most of what you get is from pulling it up and off of that ball joint just to get a little more. Nothing great. The front skirting armor flips up. Once again, the side skirting is huge, but that can rotate to the front as well as to the back. This does have some articulated sections on itself, which are these little pieces here. So they can move in like so, as well as out like that. And there goes the butt tank. Speaking of the butt, we don't have anything at the butt flap. This does have some articulation to it. That is up and down like this for when it's attached, but like I said, it is quite loose and pops off quite often. Just taking off the side skirt for now. There is the kick all the way up to the front. That is a little bit blocked by the front skirting, but otherwise pretty good. As for out to the back, it is blocked by that non-moving butt flap. And finally, as for the splits, without the side skirts, no problem whatsoever. Up at the upper thigh, we do not have full rotation here, but it's pretty much all you would need. The bend at the knee is pretty nice, could be better though. A bit of a pivot on this thruster in the back of the leg. This armor section here can rotate slightly. As for the foot, we've got a bit of a side-to-side pivot, slightly blocked. That can move very nicely out to the back, up to the front, and we've got that bend forward and down, again part of the transformation. But as for those toes, we do have nothing upwards at all. So all in all, the articulation on this is pretty damn good. The only limiting factors would really be down at the feet. Without a bend of the toes upwards and not much side-to-side pivot, you're not going to get a lot of dynamic ground poses out of this. But as for aerial poses, this thing has them down perfect. So of course we do have a transformation in here as well. That's the transformation to the leg flyer as well as the chest core flyer. As for the chest core flyer, the shield as well as the top section of the javelin attach into the arms, and this can attach to an action base using this little adapter right here. As for the leg core flyer, you just kind of tuck up the legs in that kind of Gundam wing style way. That's pretty much it. Then you just use this adapter here to attach to an action base. For those of you who are wondering if you can build a pink version of the Force Impulse with what's left over on this kit, well, pretty much. As you can see, this right here is what you can build. The colors are all mixed around as you'd expect, but because this kit is missing what would have been the yellow runner on the Force Impulse, it's missing the lining around the vents on the chest, the second section of the V-fin. You do get the beam rifle, but you don't get enough parts to put the shield together, so you can kind of build it, but not entirely. So that is it for the review, and all in all, this is a pretty cool little high grade, but it does nothing new, so this right here gets a silver from me. All in all, it's pretty much exactly what you would expect from a high grade. The build in general is quite good. The only parts that are a little bit irritating are the newly added parts, which are quite long and prone to falling off. But besides that, all in all, it's pretty damn good. The articulation is great as well. It does fail a little bit at the ankles, which means ground poses could be better, but aerial poses are absolutely on point. The accessories are cool, and of course it does combine with the Impulse Gundam arc, which I will be looking at probably later this week. But as always, if you do want one of your own, check out that link down there in the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.